I've recently received a couple of emails from readers asking for tips on drawing hands. Right behind feet, hands are one of the most problematic anatomical features for artists to tackle. Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to be able to tell you much that you haven't already read in a drawing tutorial book at this point. While there are some universal methods to learning to draw hands, there's no magic trick involved. It mostly boils down to lots and lots of practice. However, with that said, I figured I'd make a short video anyway, show and talk about how I draw hands, in the hopes that maybe you'll be able to draw some insight from that to apply to your own approach. You'll notice that I typically always start with a rough, rounded square shape, representing the palm of the hand. This is always oriented relative to the hand pose I'm looking to draw, and it gives me a foundation from which to attach the fingers. It should be noted that my artwork has a very cartoony, stylized look, which is far more forgiving than, say, portraiture or life drawing. However, the fundamentals are the same, and learning the basic shapes of the hand can then be applied to more detailed drawing down the line. You may also notice if you look at these examples in a lot of my comic strips that I often don't bother with the distal interphalangeal joint of the fingers. That's this little guy right here. Unless the hand pose specifically requires it, such as in a grasping claw-like pose, I find the dip joint can be safely discarded without drawing too much attention, especially the further away from the camera your subject is. Not worrying as much about this joint simplifies the overall mechanics of the hand, and the vast majority of common hand poses can be accomplished without it. Obviously, this shortcut works for cartoons and comics, but will be far less successful the more detailed and lifelike your style is. When learning to draw hands, it can be far too easy to get bogged down in the details, which are in no short supply on hands and fingers. Wrinkles, creases, knuckles, and fingernails all make the hand much more complicated than an arm, for example, which is mostly gradual curves and broader shapes. Simplify as much as possible when practicing. Focus on the basic forms, and get comfortable with drawing the most common hand poses from a variety of angles. Hands at rest, clenched fists, and pointing will all likely be used far more often than any other hand pose, so master those first. Apart from that, as much as I hate to have to repeat it, the best way to learn is through time and patience. So just keep practicing.